Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Treasure's Craft. My name is Treasure Peter. Today I'll be making this beautiful crop shirt with cargo pocket, but mine will be with the short sleeves. It's a beginners friendly tutorial and it's easy to understand. Stay tuned and watch to the end if it's something you're interested in, and don't forget to subscribe if you've not.
Welcome back once again, guys. So I'll be making use of this cotton fabric for mine, and I'll be using 1.5 yards, although 2 yards will be convenient and best for it. I'll be cutting the front first, and I'll draft it on my pattern paper before transferring it to the fabric. So I went ahead to draw my starting line, and then from the center I marked 2.5 inches, and this will serve for my button flap as well as the allowance that will allow the button flap to lap well, so that there will be no shortage. So I went ahead to just mark the line across like so, and I used my ruler to connect to the straight line. So at that 2.5 inches, I went ahead to just fold it at that point, and then from there I went ahead to take 1 inch out, and that 1 inch will serve as my original starting line, and that 1 inch will represent the allowance that I'm going to take for my button flap area. So I went ahead to mark it, and the other side will be my button flap, while the 1 inch will be my allowance. So from that 1 inch I went to take my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and then from that point I came down by 2 inches and connected the line down to the end top of my shoulder line like so. So this is because I want to make it
To look like the male shirt, where the back shoulder will be longer than the front shoulder and it will come into the front shoulder.
So from there I took the length of my top from my original shoulder line,
and I marked what I had. I used 17 inches for my length, and then from there I went ahead to take my chest line. In order to do that, I went up from my shoulder slant by 1 inch, which is always our original shoulder slant, and I marked my chest line using our normal formula, the bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5, and I got 7, and I marked what I had. And at the chest line I went ahead to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I went ahead to draw a straight line to the 2 inches shoulder slant, and then after that I went ahead to go up by 1 inch from the 2 inches shoulder slant, and then I marked my midpoint, and then I went ahead to go in by ½ inch at my midpoint. Then at the chest line I took my bust circumference divided by 4, and I added extra ½ inch. This ½ inch is just for ease, so that it will not be too tight, since it's a crop shirt and it's a free crop shirt. And I added 1.5 inch sewing allowance, and I used my armhole curve to connect the lines to form my armhole, just like this. After that I went ahead to extend at the allowance part, and I also extended the down part, and then I took the same measurements I took at the bust for my circumference of the waist area, because I want it to be free, I don't want it to be tight. Then I went ahead to just draw my line straight like so, and then after that I went ahead to just cut it out. So after cutting it, this is what I have. I went ahead to notch that part, because this part will be where our flap will start from, where our button flap will start from. So this is just it for the front. I went ahead to label it front. So before cutting the neck, I'm going to place it first and cut the back. So in cutting the back, I went ahead to pin the front to the back like this, keeping much allowance at the top. I left up to 5 inches allowance, and then from there I went ahead to mark 2.5 inches at the top. So from my starting line I went ahead to mark 2.5 inches up to around the shoulder slant. I just marked it till I reached the end, and then I went ahead to draw it across like so. So after that I went ahead to cut it out, and then I folded the top part to come into the front. So our back is going to come into our front like this. So this is just how we are going to place it. We are going to join our back to our front, and then after that I went ahead to just cut out the back part just like this. After that, I went ahead to notch the center to know the center of my armhole, and then I also had to reduce this part so it will look straight. And then from there, I took my neck width. I used a neck width of 2.5 inches and a neck depth of 3 inches, like so. So I went ahead to just draw my neck, and that is it. So after that, I went ahead to cut it off. I had to keep my allowance well before cutting it out so that there will be no issue when I'm sewing it. So after cutting the front neck, this was what I had. So for the back neck, I just had to extend it like this. I used my marker to extend it, and then I went ahead to cut it off. So here is our front and here is our back. So the next thing I'm going to cut now is to cut the sleeves pattern. So for the length of my sleeves, I'm going to be using 9 inches because it's a short sleeves. And then from there, I went ahead to draw my 9 inches across like so. From the top, I came down by 4.5 inches, and this is going to serve as my bicep. So from there, I came in at the top by 4 inches again, and then I divided my 4.5 into 2, and I had 2.25, that is 2 1/4, and I marked what I had. And then at my bicep, I took my round bicep measurements divided by 2. I marked what I had, and from there I added additional 1 inch for ease. And then at the sleeves length, I took my armhole round and marked what I had also and added additional 1 inch. So after that, I went ahead to curve my armhole like so. You have to first go ahead to curve it from the top using your armhole curve. Just curve it in this manner and then place it in this other manner, curving it to reach the end, just like so. And then I just connected my sleeves together like so, and that is all for the sleeves. I went ahead to cut it out. So I'll just go ahead to use my pattern paper to take out my pocket. So I just went ahead to do a 10 inches width and 10 inches length pocket. It's a cargo pocket, so whenever I'm going to prepare it, I'm going to make it to be the original length and width. So that's all. So this is our front. I went ahead to cut it on the fabric. I kept 1/2 inch at the top part, 1/2 inch at the neck, and then I added allowance for my allowance, and then I also took out my notch area where I'm going to place my button flap. And then for the back, I also went ahead to add my allowances like so. I added allowance at the down part, and the back was cut on fold. And then I also went ahead to cut my sleeves. I added my allowance for folding it at least 1 inch. I also added the allowance at the side, 1/2 inch. And then for the pocket, I got the exact same thing. So it's time to sew our shirt. So first I went ahead to fold our front side with 1.5 inch for the button flap, like I told you earlier. So I'll just go ahead to my machine and then I'll sew it in on the wrong side. And then for the back, I went ahead to cut the facing for the back because I want to double the back part. So what I'm going to do is I'll use my hemming gum to fold in the hem part so that it will look very neat. So I'll go to my iron to iron it down very well so it will look neat. And then after ironing it, this was what I had. See how it looks. It's looking neat already. So at this point, I'll just go ahead to pin it down. I'll just pin it down and then I'll go ahead to just sew it on top. So this is just our facing for the back, and I am placing it on the right sides of the back. So after sewing it on top, this is what we have. The next thing I'm going to do is to just join the shoulder. In joining the shoulder, I place my front and my back together, right sides facing right sides, and I'm going to be using my facing for the back to turn the back side in. So I went ahead to use the facing and the back to turn the front in so it will look very neat inwards and outwards. So I went ahead to pin it up first before I'll take it to my machine. And when I sew it, this is how it's going to look. Both sides are hidden, the joining is not going to be showing, and I'm joining it with my 1/2 inch allowance. So this was what I had after I was done joining both sides like this. See how it's looking neat and it's very okay. Then I went ahead to just pin down the button area where I'm going to place my buttonhole as well as my buttons. After arranging my armhole very well, I went ahead to place the notch at the center, and then after placing the notch at the center to show that that is where my armhole center will be, I went ahead to fix my sleeves, making sure that the center of my sleeves aligns with the center of that shoulder area that I notched. So I just pinned it down, and then I took it to my sewing machine to join my sleeves to my armhole area like so, doing the same thing to the other side. So this is what I had after joining my sleeves. I'll just go ahead to fold in my both sleeves with the allowance that I had it, and then after that I'll go ahead to close the side of my shirt. After closing it, this was all we had. I went ahead to just fold the down part of my shirt. After bending it, this is what I had. So the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to fix my pocket. To do that, I will prepare the pocket first, since it's a cargo pocket. So the first thing I'll do is to just fold it in by any side, because I took 10 inches by 10 inches. So I'll just fold it in like this, and then I'll take it to my machine, and then I'll sew it with 1 inch. So you can go ahead to just mark it down first before sewing it in a straight line with 1 inch. I will also do the same thing to the other side of the pocket. So this is our pocket. After sewing it, it's looking smaller now, so I'll just go ahead to iron it. So just go ahead to open it up and keep it very well and iron it. So for my width, I ended up having 7.5, and I'll just make do with that 7.5. It's okay for my width. And then for the length, I trimmed it to become 9 inches. It became 9 inches after trimming it off. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to just cut off another piece of the same size of the pocket. So I went ahead to use a lining because my material was not enough to just cut out the same piece. After cutting it out, I went ahead to use that lining to turn. I placed it in the front side of the cargo pocket, and I turned the down part and the two sides, and I left the up side open. And this was what I had after turning both sides. I went ahead to just bring it out, and then I'll take it to my iron to iron it very well. So this was what I had after ironing them. So I'll just run a stitch at the top of the pocket. Then for the length, I ended up having 8 inches. I think 8 inches is okay, and the width I ended up having 6.5 inches. So I'll be using this to pipe the mouth of the pocket. You know, the up pocket is open and it's not neat, so I'll just use it to finish it up to make it look neat, and then I'll turn it to the back side. So after piping it, this was what we have. I'll just go ahead to attach the pocket to the front. So in order to attach the pocket, I measured 2 inches from the button area at the inner side. At the downside, I brought down the pocket with 1 inch after the top length, and then I went ahead to just pin it down. I went ahead to confirm that this other side is straight and it's 1 inch, and then went ahead to pin it down. So I'll just go ahead to pin down the pocket, and then I'll go ahead to attach the other side of the pocket too. So for this other side, I also did the same thing. I confirmed my measurements, and then I went ahead to also pin it down. So that's all. I'll just go ahead to sew the pocket down. So note, for this pocket there will be no need for us to close the downside because it's just like a fancy. It's going to be open, so you can just put your hand through it. So before attaching our pocket cover, we'll go ahead to attach the collar first. In order to determine our collar, I went ahead to measure the round neck to know the measurement to take for the collar. I actually had 19 inches. I'll be using this pattern paper to draft out our collar first before cutting it on the fabric. So I went ahead to fold it into 2, and after that I went ahead to measure my 19 inches divided by 2, which is 9.5. So I marked it at that point, and I drew a straight line up a little. So I now took my length, the length of the down collar, as 1.25. that is 1/1/4, and I marked across like so. I had to draw it across like so. So the next thing I did was that I went up by 2.5 at the top collar. So I used 2.5 as the length of my top collar. At the edge of the down collar, I came in by 1 inch and I went up straight, also using 2.5 for the length of the up collar, and then connect a straight line like so. And then after that, at the topmost part, I came out by 1/2 inch and I marked what I got, and then I slanted it into the collar after connecting it just like so. Then at the upper collar, I came down at the middle point by 0.25, that is 1/4 inch, and then connect it down like so in a slant form. So after that, I also went ahead to go up at this down collar at this edge by also the same 0.25, which is 1/4, and then I use my ruler to also connect it in a slant form like so. And then finally, I had to curve this point so it won't look straight. So that's all. I'll just go ahead to cut the collar. So here's our collar after I was done. This is how it looks like. So I'll just go ahead to place it on my fabric to cut it, and I'll add my 1/2 inch allowances round everywhere. This is it when I was done cutting. I added 1/2 inch allowances round and I cut 2 of it. So I'll use my 8 stitch to iron one side of this. So after gumming one part with my 8 stitch, this is what I have. So I'll just go ahead to place it right side facing each other, then pin it up, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine to sew all around with 1/2 inch, leaving only the down part like this. So after sewing in, this was what I had. The next thing I'll go ahead to do is to notch this part with my scissors. I'll also notch round this upper part like so, and then I'll go ahead to bring it out to the right sides, and then I'll go ahead to iron it very well, and I'll show you guys what I have. This is it after ironing it. Now we're going to be fixing it on our neck. So in order to attach it, you open it up first, and then you take it. Make sure that the edge step part will be facing the inner part like this. So let your edge step part be the one that will be at the inner part, so that when you put down your collar, it will be that part that will show. So you're going to start from this end like this. You can go ahead to use your office pin to just pin it down. We are joining it from the right side towards the wrong side. So I'll just go ahead to pin it all around till I reach the end, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine to join it with 1/2 inch. After joining it, this was what we had. So I'll go ahead to pin it down, then I'll top stitch on it like this. I'll just place it with 1/2 inch, making sure to cover the joining at the neck area. So this is it when I was pinning it down. So guys, if you've watched up to this point, please don't forget to subscribe if you've not, and also like and drop a comment on the comment section. So at this point, I'll just go ahead to sew on it. This is it when I was done sewing it. So you can choose to go ahead to run a thread on this part, but I decided not to run the thread. But if you wish, you could just do it. We are done fixing our collar. The next thing I'm going to do is to fix our pocket cover. So I used 7.5 inches because the total width was actually 6.5, and for the length of this pocket cover, I'll be using 6 inches in total, and I'll be folding it into 2 like this. So I'll just go ahead to my machine to sew the sides together, and then I'll turn it over to the other side and iron it. I'll do the same thing for this side. So this is it. I went ahead to confirm the width, that it was actually 6.5 inches, and I got what I wanted. Then the length is actually 3 inches. I'll just go ahead to iron it, and then we'll sew it on our pocket. So this is it after ironing it, and I went ahead to also sew on top of it. So what I'm just going to do is to use it to sew here. I'll just sew it like this so it will cover up. That means I'm going to just sew it straight. I'll pin it up and sew it and cover it up, then make sure that this other side also aligns. I'll do the same thing, and that is all for this tutorial. So that is all, guys. This is what I have after I was done joining it, and this is the outcome of our shirt. So that I'll take my shirt to the market to just do my buttonhole, and so I'll be able to fix the button. Thank you so much, guys, for watching till the end. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop a video you'll be notified, and also like and comment. So this is the shirt when I was just putting it on to try it on my body. Thank you guys for watching once again. See you guys in my next video. Bye.